Welcome to Fun is Fundamental. Fun is Fundamental is a podcast for those who realize that the enjoyment of life is about having something deep in our souls which lights our fire. It's for those who maybe have lost that fire and feel like they are missing out on the pleasures of life. In each episode, I will share recent fun activities and focus on why having fun is essential for good health. I'm your host, Alenia, and I invite you to take this journey with me and join the pleasure-seeking movement. Hi, welcome to Fun is Fundamental. Welcome back. I was not intending to take a 2-month hiatus, but I'm glad I did. I needed to. We went on a very big vacation during that time, and it was just so hectic trying to get it all sorted and arranged and then to go do it that I don't think I could have really come back in October like I originally planned. So thus why it was longer than I made it sound like it would be on social media. But I'm back. We're going to start having episodes again. Next week I'll talk about how amazing that trip was. But this week I have a very special guest. She is by far one of my absolute favorite guests I've had so far, and conversations. She is absolutely lovely. She is Valerie David. She's an award-winning writer and actress. She won multiple awards with her one-woman show, The Pink Hulk, One Woman's Journey to Find the Superhero Within. And it's about her journey to become a 3-time cancer survivor. Like, not just once, not just twice, 3 times. It's just unbelievable. So inspiring. She is totally kick-ass. She's a fighter and a beautiful person. I absolutely adore her. She also has a solo show, Baggage from Baghdad, Becoming My Father's Daughter, and it's about her father's having to flee his home of Iraq in 1941 because they were Jewish and they were being persecuted, and about that journey. So she is from both of those topics and stories that she's telling on stage. Clearly she has no qualms about being vulnerable and honest and human, and I just really admire her, and she's absolutely lovely, and I have no doubt that you will enjoy this episode hearing her talk as much as I enjoyed hearing her talk. She is amazing, and I found myself like tearing up when she's talking about her journey, but she's also super funny and just absolutely charming and delightful. So enjoy this episode with Valerie. Good evening, Valerie.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, I'm so happy that you're here. It's great to talk to you again. It's been a while, so
Yes, we get an A for effort.
yeah.
And here we are. We get an A plus because now we are here together.
Now we're actually here.
Now we're actually here.
We aced it.
Aced it. Woohoo!
How has your summer been?
It's been an amazing summer, and into the fall, I have been away performing and traveling for the past few months, and it's been wonderful, and I've loved every minute of it and feel very lucky and blessed to be able to do what I'm doing. Yes. And how's your summer been?
Oh, pretty good. I kind of had a career change and things like that, but yeah, it's been fun to have be doing something different. Yeah.
Exactly. Change is good.
Yeah.
Change is good. Yeah.
Speaking of performing, I know your main show is the Pink Hulk. How did that come into fruition? What's the backstory of how you started it?
Sure, sure. That's a great question. And yes, I have a award-winning solo show called The Pink Hulk: One Woman's Journey to Find the Superhero Within. And it's based on, originally, it was based on being a two-time cancer survivor. And then I'll tell you how the story changed. So I had non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, stage 3. And then 15 years later, I found a lump, and I had a weird feeling. It was under my armpit. And I was like, I don't think this is good. So, but the crazy thing is, and this is such a lesson and such what I want to also stress, was starting a new job with new insurance, and it was better insurance than what I had. So I was going to wait to check on the lump till the new insurance kicked in. And one of my dear friends, Joan, I was out to with her to get coffee, and she's like, how are you doing? I'm like, I found a lump. But she's like, what? And I'm like, yeah, but my new insurance is kicking in about 3 months. And she's like, what? And she's like, you are going to the doctor now. And I was like, okay. And she's like, why? But it goes to show you your health is more important, right, than the health insurance. And the fact that I was going to wait, I don't know what it would have happened if I waited. So I went to the doctor. This was a Friday. Monday, I went to the doctor. And by Tuesday, I was back in the cancer hospital. And they were like, yep, this is not good. So I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer and went through chemo and radiation and surgery. And with lymphoma, I just had chemo. So I was, and so why the Pink Hulk happened is that I was like mad. I was like, what? I already had cancer before, and now I have a new one. And when I found the lump, it was right before I was leaving for my 15th anniversary celebration of being cancer free. And so like I had cancer when I was at my trip, and did I had, so it was like ironic. I was like, oh, I'm cancer free 15 years, and then I had the lump there. And I even had a friend that felt the lump on the armpit when we went to Aruba to celebrate, and she was like, yeah, that's not good. So I had a lot of angels looking out for me. So why the cold happened. And so when I was diagnosed with breast cancer, how this all came about is that I went to high school with Mark Ruffalo, the current Hulk, Marvel Hulk, and I had emailed him late night at night, and I said, Mark, I am so mad I got cancer again. I could be the Hulk, but I would be your pink counterpart. And that's the way the title came.
Oh,
I
I
actually
love
wrote,
it.
I could be your Hulk counterpart, but I would be pink. So then, that the name had happened, and the Pink Hulk, because hulking out on cancer, and the ribbon for lymphoma is the lime green of the Hulk green, and then pink is breast cancer. So it represented both cancers, and hulking out on cancer, fighting back and saying, nope, I'm going to knock it down, cancer smash. And then, so then when you were talking about like a career change, after I had finished treatment, I just wanted to do something else. I was at a great job, but it was high stress. And I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. So for the first time ever, I had quit a job without having a job. And my parents were fully supportive. And I was saying to myself, I've got to write this show, The Pink Hulk. I feel like it was coming out. I was like, I've got to write this. And when I quit my job, the head of the company was like, you know what? I know you're going to fly with this. I know we have full confidence in you, and we know you're making the right decision for yourself, and we're so happy for you, and you have this purpose, and we support you on that. And I'm still in touch with them to this day.
Oh,
About it. And so it was really lovely. And then I right after my last day, I went on a writing course and at Omega Institute, and the Nancy and Franny were the people that were running the class, and we would write out, all day, and then we would share our writings. And she's like, you are a writer, you have a story in there, because a common theme was coming up, and it was having to do with the cancer. And in less than 5 months, it was written and a full production. It was an incredible experience. The other thing, which is I'll share with you, which was funny, is that I was in an air cast, so I wasn't very mobile. So I remember I started writing it because my whole family at Thanksgiving was watching college football, and I was like, I'm going to start writing this. So I took my scooter and I scooted myself in one of my sister's sunroom and started writing and couldn't stop. And it was so interesting. The other thing is you have to do what you have to do. And I remember my mother and father they're the greatest parents, but they were worried about me. And they're like, you just finished treatment 8 months ago. You finished treatment 8 months ago. We think this is too soon for you to do this. This is too taxing emotionally and physically. And I'm like, nope, I'm doing it, and I was like, I'm not going to let anything stop me. And I think that is the theme of the Pink Hulk, is not to let anything stop you. And I did a bike marathon only like 2 months after I finished treatment. I did a 40-mile bike marathon,
wow.
and it had just finished 8 months of treatment. So I was determined, and I think that's the message. Keep going, keep going. So I was a 2-time cancer survivor. And then 4 years after the second diagnosis, I had really bad chest pains, and I was like, uh-oh, this isn't good. So I was like, I don't have a good feeling about this. And they were really bad chest pains, which was very similar to the chest pains I had when I had lymphoma, because I had a tumor in my chest, and it was causing a lot of pain and coughing. And I felt that same thing again. And this is now, let's see, 15, 16, 17, 19 years later. So the first time, and then 15 years was breast cancer. Then after the 4 years after that, I was a writer in residence at this Live and in Color, at this place where I was developing baggage from Baghdad, which I know we'll be talking about that a little later. And I called my doctor from the retreat, and I said, I have cancer again. And she's like, Valerie, I'm sure it's a pulled chest vessel. And nope, I've got cancer again. So then they were like, okay, well, I know you've got a checkup coming up. We'll check it out. And lo and behold, third diagnosis with cancer.
Mm-hmm.
And this time it was stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. And I found out first, interestingly enough, I was in a festival with the Pink Hulk, and I had to have a PET scan. And I was performing the Pink Hulk in New York at a festival. I had gotten into the final. I was a finalist, and I didn't have time to go home. I knew. So I had taken all of my props and my costume, and I got ready in the hospital. Like, I was in the bathroom putting makeup on, and everyone's like, good luck, break a leg, and I was like, thanks, hauling my suitcase of props from a cancer hospital directly to the Newark's theater festival, and who Jean is a wonderful friend who runs it. And so I didn't tell anyone, but I was like, okay, show must go on. So that was during the times where I was finding out, like getting all the tests. And then I was going to Portland to open up the show in a festival. And I got the phone call the day the show was opening in Portland as I was entering the theater that you have stage 4 metastatic breast cancer. And I kept going, and I did the show that night and finished the run. So I think that what the pink Hulk stands for is perseverance, and to keep going no matter what happens, and that you have to live your life. And I think that's what cancer taught me. And right now, I have no evidence of disease, which is a miracle. I actually had picked the drug that I was to be on. I had studied its ad campaign as a copy editor. I do freelance copy editing in between touring. And I had worked on this campaign, this drug, and it was for metastatic breast cancer. And I was like, wow, that looks like a great drug, but I don't have metastatic breast cancer. And then 8 months later, I did. And I'm like, can I try this drug? And my doctor's like, sure. I got her blessing. And then in less than 5 months, it worked 100%. And so it's just been a miracle. And so I'm so grateful. And that's why I feel the show became even more important and became way bigger than myself, because it wasn't about Valerie's cancers. It's about fighting back any adversity in life. And it became a huge mission for me to keep doing the show. And now with this third ending, I've had to change the story 3 times. 2-time cancer survivor, then another ending. I have cancer, but I'm going to fight it. And then I smashed it, and that's the third ending. So I think that people really respond to it. And I think that's been such a wonderful thing, because people come up to me afterwards and saying how much it's impacted them, whether they're cancer patients or cancer survivors, loved ones, caregivers. A man in Indianapolis came up to me with his wife, and he said, I now understand what my wife goes through. So thank you for painting that picture, but my show is very, very funny. There's a lot of humor to it. And I also don't sugarcoat things. And so part of being a writer is that you have to be honest. And I'm very honest in my work. And that's what you need to be as an artist, is to be honest. And it's been, the magic that I feel is the audience. The magic is the audience. Their audiences have been amazing, and I've been inspired by the audiences as well, because I have talkbacks, and we talk after the show, and I either have it with myself or doctors, oncologists, nurses. I have fellow cancer survivors and that are on the panels with me. Every show I do something where we talk to the audience, and it's really been amazing to hear their stories. And the other thing is that I raise money for cancer organizations for all the places I've gone. I've gone to, now I think I'm up to over 47 engagements of the show. 24 cities, 4 different countries in Europe. And I always try to raise money with my performances to help cancer organizations as well. And I think that's what I feel is the most important thing about being an artist. It's not just performing, it's also what can you do to inspire and motivate and uplift others who are going through challenges in their life, whether it's cancer or not cancer. I had someone, I went to Iceland last year, and he's like, I broke up with my girlfriend. I've been very depressed. And then I saw your show and I felt so much better. So thank you. Yeah. So it's like, it's really been wonderful responses that I'm very grateful for. And I get so much inspiration from the audiences. And at the end, I wear a pink cape, like my superhero persona, and a cancer patient who has breast cancer. And this was recently had said, can I put your cape on after the show? And I put it on. She put it on and she started flying around the theater. And it was incredible. And it's just been great to uplift people. And I also, once a month, I also do improv workshops with cancer patients at a particular organization. And I've been keynote speakers at conferences and telling my story and hoping that that it helps inspire, because we need that right now. There's so much going on right now, and not just health wise, but it's been all very challenging for so many people. And so I hope that I provide hope. That's my goal. And my last line of my play is never, ever, ever give up. So that's the theme of that show. Yeah. So yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, your determination and perseverance is very inspiring, and your authenticity. I definitely, I can see how you would touch so many lives with your story and who you are as a person. So
Thank you.
so
Yeah, and thank you so much. And I think the other thing is to be, and we've all heard this, you be your own best advocate, and that's for anything. And I think that's helped me so much. Like I recently got this bill from the hospital for $1,700, and I was like, hello. I called. I'm like, what are we going to do about this? Because I don't feel that this was right in the calculations, and it's not something I feel I should be paying for. And guess what? They said your balance is zero. So it's like
awesome.
yeah, so it's like sticking up for yourself. And I think that's what cancer taught me, is to stick up for myself and to have a voice, because I was allergic to one of the medications, and this is in the Pink Hulk. And I kept saying, I can't breathe. I don't feel well. This isn't normal. And I was kind of, oh, I'm sure you're okay. And we'll set an appointment with a pulmonologist to check the breathing. And that never happened until I called the pulmonologist, and I was like, what do you have today? I'm coming in. Okay, I'm on my way. So and I was allergic. And if it weren't for me directly calling myself and saying, when can you fit me in? I'm going to be there. Then it wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
And I was taken off that chemo drug immediately, and could breathe after that. So it's really having a voice and listening to your inner voice, also your gut. So when they were saying, oh no, you don't have cancer, when I was like, I was like, I've literally like, can you get the doctor on the phone? I have cancer. Knowing that inner voice, and we all have it. We all have that intuition. It's whether we choose to listen to it or not. And I always listen to it, and most of the time, 99.99999 times, I am correct. And so, but we all have that capability. We all have that self-awareness. We just need to keep tapping into that. And I think that's been really important, and has made me survive because of it. Because when I feel something, my little inner voice doesn't go, Valerie. It goes, Valerie. It screams at me. So I don't ignore it anymore.
That's
And
good.
I think, yeah, and I think that that voice serves you well in many instances, not just health, just across the board. If you have that funny feeling, there's usually a reason.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, I think it's really unfortunate that I mean, especially I think in health especially, but in general, that how much people's intuition is just like squashed, like No, you're wrong. You just you're
Right,
you're
right.
taught not to trust your intuition.
It's so true. And I think the other, light bulb moment of all this is that with all of this, because I'm in treatment for life. So I get checked every 6 weeks for the rest of my life. And I can't live in fear. I won't live in fear.
Mhm.
So every time we go to the doctor, I'm like, okay, I'm not like, oh my God, this could be it. This is what if this test comes back? I can't live my life like that. And I won't live my life like that. I will not live in fear. And I'm in treatment for life. I'm on oral medication, which is wonderful. To that they have these drugs because not so long ago they didn't have this, and there wasn't much they could do.
Mhm.
So and I think we've advanced so much in cancer that for for what I'm seeing for myself, it's more of something chronic, but it's not going to, like, I feel like I'll get hit by a New York bus before cancer takes me down, or I'll be hit by a bike messenger. So I'm living a full life. I'm living the glass fully full. And
Mhm.
it's my oral medications don't stop me from doing anything. There's side effects, joint pain, blah blah blah, but whatever, like, it's nothing that's gonna stop me. And I think that that's been such a breakthrough. And they're always coming up with things. And part of the talkbacks that I have is I try to have experts, oncologists, experts, and to help say what's new, what's coming down the pike, to help
Mhm.
educate myself and to educate others. For instance, the drug that was a new drug that came out that I was like, I'd like to try it. And so there's so many options and clinical trials and things. I just saw on the news that Olivia Newton-John's cancer center has now, like they said, the headline was the gift of Olivia Newton-John is that her cancer center just found a breakthrough in one of the cancers. And it's been wonderful to see that happening, that it's giving all people hope that even if there's, God forbid, a cancer diagnosis, it's not going to have to be a death sentence at
Mhm.
all. In fact, it's living your best life in spite of it and because of it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I mean, I know other people who have survived cancer, and it's like it not, obviously, like, can't fighting cancer is hard, but it ends, you grow as a person to be like a better person on the other side,
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've become much more empathetic. A great, just even in the smallest instances, like when I had mentioned I was in the air cast, and I, I was like, I was on a scooter for a few months, and I really was like, you just become more empathetic when you realize that it's there are other people suffering in the world, and that people need that empathy to recognize that, whether it's from physical or anything, like just to be more empathetic. And I think it in my family relations and best friends got closer because of it. I had wonderful family and friends that would come stay with me when the chemo was rough, and especially when I had that allergic reaction before they found out that it was an allergic reaction. And people were coming over, bringing meals, helping me with my laundry, because chemo wipes you out. And so to have people going, I will do your laundry, I will take you to appointments. I was never by myself. And it was kind of like a project. Like, it was like this, I had radiation for a little over 4 weeks. And I had a calendar and I'm like, and it's every day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. I was like, okay, sign up. Who's going to go with me Monday night? Who's going to go with me Tuesday night? And people were wonderful and came with me. And then you meet so many incredible people, that patients that you, especially with radiation, you have radiation the same time every day. And so mine was like at 6 o'clock, and you meet all the people, the 6 o'clockers, and you just, it's really amazing, and you become really good friends, and you're like, yeah, like I'm up, and so it's like this little, and you've heard this before, like a club, that, and you just make so many great friends. And I had one friend, Lily, that we would end up in the hospital together because I had some complications, and I'd be like, call her, hey, are you here? And we'd visit each other, and,
Oh.
in our hospital rooms, seriously, it was like crazy. I was like, I think Lily's here. Hey, Lily, are you here? And so you just meet so many incredible people. And then the people that help you, the social workers and the doctors and the nurses. I was very lucky to have a really great network, and people were just really great to me. And if they weren't, I had a voice to say how I felt also, because it's not always smooth sailing. Um, Sometimes we're all human, and so sometimes it wasn't a great ride, but you really, I'm really grateful, and there's a lot of gratitude for the people who helped me along the way and still help me, because I go to my doctor every 6 weeks. So and she's been wonderful in helping me. I'm using wonderful a lot in this conversation,
It's
but
okay.
it's sincere and true. And I'll try to use another word. It's
No, it's okay.
fab. They're fab, Yeah, but yeah. So I've been very lucky, and learned a lot from all this as well. Um,
How did the pandemic affect you doing the
well,
Pink Hulk and everything?
it didn't stop. It didn't stop. In 2020, I'll look up, I had done 13 performances,
Wow.
and they were virtual, but I still did it. And I think for me, the pandemic didn't stop me, because interestingly enough, the pandemic is very similar to what a cancer patient goes through. So when you're under chemo, you have to be very careful to not be around crowds. Your immune system is shot. So what happened with the pandemic is already what I've had happen as a cancer patient. So it wasn't a shock to the system, because I'm used to having to shelter in place, because I wasn't allowed to go out when my counts dropped. And I was susceptible to infection, where there were a lot of complications, where I did have to go to the hospital. The chemo affected, and I'd get a fever, and I'd have to go to the hospital and stay there for several days. So it wasn't, it was something I was familiar with. And therefore, since I've been down that road, and I've talked to so many cancer patients about it, that what happened during the pandemic was what happened to all of us as when we were in treatment. And so it didn't stop me from, it was in person, it stopped performances, but Zoom had opened up a door to be able to do performances and reach a wider audience. So if I did a show in New York in person, my friends from California weren't going to go to see it. They couldn't physically, but on Zoom they could. And I beamed in. I did the Ludlow Fringe Festival. I did the Reykjavik Fringe Festival in England, and overseas virtually, and Iceland and San Francisco, and it was just incredible. And then 2021, I had started doing in person overseas. I had hit Iceland right at the right point. They had just opened up. The restrictions were lifted 2 days before I flew in. And then I was there for 13 days doing the show. And then about 2 weeks later, they put the restrictions back. So I hit it right, like the best time frame. And so I kept doing the show, and then in October of last year, the other thing that I'm very grateful for is I had gotten some grants to do the show, so I was able to put up this production at the Cell Theater in Manhattan, which was an incredible theater space. I loved every minute of it. It was an incredible experience, and I produced it as well. And so I was hiring the tech and hiring the house manager and hiring the lighting and all this. And so renting the space, getting it videoed, getting a microphone, like every single aspect of it, hiring someone to do the programs, hiring someone to do the e-blast. So and that was right at the right pocket in October in New York, where then Omicron hit right after. So I have performed the show in person right at the mark where it was okay and things were open and everyone was masked at the in-person performance. But there was no outbreak, from the show that, and everybody was safe. But then Omicron hit a few weeks later, and then things changed. So, and then this year, I was able to go to Ohio. I had won an award in the Reykjavik Fringe in 2021 that brought me back to Iceland, to the West Fjords, which is a beautiful part of Iceland, and did the show there. Then Ohio, and then Baggage from Baghdad. Also, I was doing that at the same time and performing, and was just in Sweden with the new show. So I've been so grateful, and not only from the shows, but just as a personal point, as an actor, I also did like 30 readings on Zoom, and I have an in-person reading in 2 weeks. So it's really been, I've been very lucky with the opportunities that what the pandemic did with my career was more doing it not in person, but it didn't stop me from acting. And even acting class was on Zoom. So I was still taking a film class as well, because I love film and television. So it didn't stop me. And in fact, it was like, okay, well, what can we do? If plan A isn't working, then we go to plan B. If plan B isn't working, we go to plan C, and we go down the plans until something works. And that's what happened. And that's how I operate.
Just more of that perseverance.
Yeah, right. It was a lateral thing that happened, because even when I had cancer, when I felt well enough, I performed improv with my improv group with a scarf on my head and no hair, and in between chemo treatments. I even auditioned for a film 2 days after I had lumpectomy surgery. And my mom, I was like, I had surgery on a Friday and the audition was Sunday, and I was like all bandaged. And I got an audition. I'm like, yeah, I'm going. And my mom's like, you are not going. And I'm like, yes, I am. And then she goes, well, if you're going, then I'm going with you. So she came with me to the audition. The director's like, oh, you brought your mother. Hello, Rhoda. Nice to meet you. And a year later, I told them why, because I was like, I didn't tell you that I couldn't move my arm. So when I was like, oh, hi, Peter, I was like, it was like that Seinfeld episode with Molly Shannon with her, like she had that funny thing with her arms, and it was like I had this funny thing with my arms because I couldn't move. And but I wasn't gonna not audition. And of course, when I did I want to collapse and like have no energy? Absolutely. Was that a stupid thing? Absolutely. With I'm crazy, but like that was insane to do it after major surgery. But that was just my defiance. Like I'm gonna defy cancer, and I was like, nope, I'm doing it anyway. But and luckily my mom was with me, because afterwards I was like, oh mom, I don't feel so good, because
Mhm.
I and so, but it's that, what the word you said earlier, perseverance and determination,
Yeah,
and to keep going no matter what.
definitely. So how many countries have you performed in then?
Four. Iceland, Finland, Sweden, and England.
Oh,
And I'm planning to go back to Europe, and hopefully back to Finland and Sweden. And I already bookings for the Pink Hulk, and also the new show Baggage from Baghdad that I just did. So I am not, yeah, I'm just going to keep going. So I'm very excited for 2023 and 2024 and beyond. So I'm grateful for the opportunities. And the other thing is that I love the friends that I've made. I've made lifelong friends. And I went back to Sweden and Iceland this year, and I felt like it was family. Like I didn't feel like they were play
oh,
festivals. I just felt like, like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. I was like, hey, let's go out. Like, oh my God, it's so great to see you. Like
oh.
it was a reunion. It wasn't, yeah, it was a reunion. It was like a reunion, and it was a blast. And I just felt like I made lifelong friends. And that's not just in Europe, but a friend that I met in Orlando and Indiana. We were in festivals together, and he's coming to New York, and I'm going to see him. And you know, it's just the friends that you make are just priceless. And I think that's what I love the most. And also family. It's brought my family together. I did the show in Virginia Beach, the Pink Hulk, and my whole family flew in, and we were all together, and it was like the first time the five of us were all together as just the family in so long. And it was really special to be in my hometown, and all my high school friends came. And then I did it in Richmond, and that's Richmond, Virginia, where I lived before Virginia Beach. And all my Richmond friends were there, since knowing me since I was 6 years old. So it's, my cousins have come to the show that live in New York, and on Long Island. And it's just been I met family I've never met before. I went to Providence, Rhode Island, and I have cousins there. And I was like, hi, I'm in town. And they had me over for dinner. I mean, it was lovely. It's been a lovely experience. And cancer did that for me,
Mhm.
right? Look what cancer did for me. You
Yeah.
know, what gift it became for me,
Mhm.
you know. Um, and I had, I, uh, out of this, out of mud, the lotus flower blooms, right? Out
Yeah.
of the mud, the lotus flower blooms. So there was some mud, but it bloomed.
Yeah.
And then Baggage from Baghdad, and that the full is Baggage from Baghdad Becoming My Father's Daughter, is about my family, my father's family, fleeing Iraq in 1941 from a pogrom called the Farhud. And it was a violent uprising against the Jews of Baghdad, and they had to flee that night. again, it was a Middle Eastern pogrom, and they had to leave with what they could carry. And unfortunately, it's what's happening today.
Mm.
And it's a story that is universal, because it's persecution of any religion, persecution of sexual orientation. It represents the prejudice and discrimination that's happening and growing. And it's also a love letter to my father, and a and I want to honor him and his legacy, because he passed away this year. And uh, he knew about the show, and I read him excerpts from it. And he had, I had a reading of it in March, at a theater, Goddard Riverside, and we knew he was not. We didn't know it was any day now thing. And my parents were like, we want you to do the show. And so my plan was to do the show in March, at the end of March, and come home. And he passed the night before the reading.
Mm.
And my mom said, your dad is gone, and you're going to do your reading tomorrow. You have to do it. And I was like, okay. And that was the hardest performance I have ever had. Doesn't the getting diagnosed with cancer when the Pink Hulk opened was a piece of cake compared to this. This was the hardest. And I am so proud of the show, and my family's very proud. I just wish my dad got to see it in full. And part of the writing process for me, especially, is that a show has to grow and develop. And so I had several readings of the show, and then it was a full production in Gothenburg Fringe Festival and Stockholm Fringe Festival. And its first production off book in Stockholm, it won the top theater award. And that was the proudest moment of my life. The proudest moment of my life, because it's about my father and about my family, and to honor them is the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I want to always honor my amazing family. So it was really so grateful, and also was really sad, because my dad doesn't know. Maybe he does. Maybe he could, I can get Whoopi Goldberg from the movie Ghost to have my dad inhabit her. What was her character's name? I love that movie. Oda Mae Brown. I need an Oda Mae Brown to bring my dad back so he can see this. So it was really a very special moment for my family and for me. And so it was just a mountaintop moment. And I think this just happened just like 3 weeks ago. So I'm still so like, and so even it's still developing, because a show for the very first time up is never finished. I know there's things I'm going to fix that, or I'm going to change that, or add.
Sure.
But it was an affirmation that there's something there, and I'm doing it next year already. And actually December 11th, I'm doing it with Grange Hall Theater, Grange Hall Cultural Center, with a wonderful woman, Monica, who's going to be having it at her theater. So I'm very, very excited for that. And also the message of, I think, whereas the Pink Hulk is the cancer and the advocacy, Baggage from Baghdad is the immigrant story and the discrimination and prejudice. So it's like, these are two huge, huge issues going on. And I'm hoping to educate by both shows, inspire, and shed light on something that we don't talk about, with cancer. In the show, I talk about menopause and infertility and, things that happen. And in Baggage from Baghdad, I talk about the discrimination I've had growing up, and what my father went through, and having to leave his homeland, and the generational trauma that goes with that,
Yeah.
because they never talked about it. And then we didn't know until later in life. We didn't ever want us to learn the language. They wanted to forget their past. And I understand that completely, because it was so painful. And I remember I had interviewed them not knowing I would be doing a story a few years later. And my aunt, Denise, had a doll, and she said to her mother, like, are we coming back? And she's like, yeah, we'll come back for the doll. And they never came back. And my aunt's like crying, going, I missed that doll. She's like, she's like 77. And she's like, my mom said I'd come back for the doll, and I didn't come back for that doll. And it was just like, oh my God, like it was so, I mean, just the impact that had on them. And coming to this country, and English wasn't their first language, it was Arabic and French. And so just having to adjust. My dad said that in school, when they were called on after Iraq, they went to India and then America. If a teacher called on them, they would stand up. And so when he did that in America, the kids were laughing at him, and they called him a dirty Arab. So it's just, I mean, my poor dad. So and that's in the show. And so it also, bullying, it's about being bullied. And I was bullied as a kid too. So the Hulk wasn't there yet.
No.
The Hulk hadn't formed yet. So I'm looking forward to that. I'd love to do the shows together, like do it on a Thursday somewhere, and then have them coming back and have me do it on a Saturday or a Monday or a Wednesday or a Monday and a Tuesday. Or a whole run of it, 5 shows of Pink Hulk, 5 shows of Baggage from Baghdad. So I'm really looking forward to the future, for sure.
Yeah. I'm sorry that you lost your father at that time. I wish he would have been able to see it.
Me too. And it's been hard, it's a big hole. And I'm, grateful my mother's still with us. And, I have 2 sisters and nieces and nephew, and lots of cousins and aunts and everything. That was the hard part. Like, I think that was the hard part, like having him not here to see it. And he passed at 89, and I know that he had a wonderful life and lived a long life, and also had cancer, stage 4 prostate cancer, and also he was my inspiration.
Oh, wow.
Because we would have treatment at the same time. But he was like I said, Dad, and I'd be crying. I'm like, how are you not like upset by this, or crying with treatment, or sad or whatever? And he goes, he's like, it is what it is. And I was like, I wish I could be like that. So he was my inspiration and my superhero, as well as my mom. It was just interesting how we even found out we had stage 4 cancer almost at the same time, with his prostate and my breast. It was like crazy. Like we were like in sync in the worst way. You don't want to be in sync like that. It was like we were having treatment at the same time. We were getting diagnosed at the same time. And in fact, I didn't tell them about it for a little while, for a couple of weeks, because I had told my sisters, but and they understood. I was like, I wasn't gonna chime in about me if dad just found out about him. And I was like, I'm gonna wait a little bit. And
Yeah,
so
don't need to put this on you also.
yeah, I was like, I'm not gonna add anything more on your plate. Like, and they understood that. And in fact, the interesting part was that the first time I had cancer, it was like, oh, and then the second, oh no, then the third, my mom's like, I'm mad, I'm really mad. And she's like, well, we're just gonna have to kick it again. Like, it was just like like no one was crying, like nobody. It was like, all right, here we go, let's go back on the merry-go-round, here we go. And that was really that was so surreal, like compared from the first time where I was like devastated, and then it was like, okay, all right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, and that's where I think that I've grown, and my whole family, we've all grown through this, between my dad's cancer and my cancer. And I think, we've grown as a family, and other things that happen in our family. Every family goes through so much, not just from cancer, but we all are going through all of everything in our lives. So I think it was definitely something where I felt like uh, I was just grateful that, everyone stepped up to help. It wasn't like, oh, because you hear, and I was used to be in support groups, and you hear, I so and so and so and so, I don't hear from them, or and I did have a few friends that fell off, Columbus, fell off the earth, but that happens, and it's okay. And that's a natural part of life. You just have to embrace the friends that are always going to be there for you, and there's some that are not, and that's okay. And you bless them and release them,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
let it go. Because right, like that Frozen song, "Let It Go." You just have to let it go, because things happen in life, and people change, and you change, and the world changes, and you have to adjust. And sometimes it's not what you want, but you have to figure out a way to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Right.
definitely.
Right. So,
And yeah, not every person, like some people are for different seasons of your life,
correct.
and
Yes. Yes, I definitely. And just the other day, for some reason, I was like, I hadn't talked to a friend since 2014. Like, all of a sudden, her name popped in my head. And I was like, I'm going to call her. And I called her, and it's still the same cell phone number.
huh.
And I was like, I haven't heard back from her, and I probably won't. But I was like, what happened? I don't even remember why we're not in touch anymore. But all of a sudden I was walking down the street, and I was like, I'm going to call her. And I called her. And maybe that was just that time in my life, and from, 2014 and earlier, that we were friends. And I'm not even sure she's even in New York State anymore, but it was just funny. Like I think you said it so perfectly, that there's those times of your life where those people are there for a reason, and then they're not there for a reason, and there's no rhyme or reason about it. but
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I was feeling very nostalgic, and I was like, gosh, we had a lot of fun together, especially at karaoke. Like, we did karaoke duets all the time. I'm like, that was so fun at Bliss Bar in Queens. And then we drink at Sidetracks Bar and Grill. So yeah, it was, so I think people are there for a reason sometimes, and things change. And so you just have to embrace what you have. And I think I've learned a lot of gratitude, and I think that's very important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, I am very inspired by you in so many ways. And I just, you talk so much about like the connections between people, and how it's just really beautiful. Like,
Right.
you're, you know, talk, the way that you talk about your audience and your family and, your friends. And yeah, it's just, I, obviously those are the things that are really the most
They
important
are.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, they are. And the relationships that you build, you have to. I was talking to someone the other day about, especially with acting, it was like you can do it 24/7, but you shouldn't. You have to live your life, go to a
Mhm.
baseball game, like go do everything to be well-rounded, be a well-rounded person. And you can't just have this one focus. Do different things, bungee jump tomorrow, and then go to a pottery class, like just do go to a yoga class, just do different things. And we were talking about that with acting, because it's like I could look at a script all day and do this all day, but you have to kind of live your life. And we were talking that you can't really act a part if you don't draw from a life you don't have.
Mhm.
Because everything I do, I draw from my life. And you can't draw from life if you're not living a life. And so I think it was just an interesting thing to talk about, because obviously uh, things have been affected by the pandemic, and theaters are closing, and things are changing as we speak. Tony Award winning shows are closing,
Mhm.
but you have to keep going, and you have to find a way. And if a door shuts, then you've got to figure out what door. Like Encanto, I love that movie, and it's like that door, like everybody gets their door, so
Mhm.
you have to make your door. And probably not a great analogy with the movie, but it just kind of reminded me of that. Like when everybody had their moment, everyone has their time, and then you create that. And so you know Dorothy with her red slippers could go home anytime, but she didn't realize that. So you have to realize, where are my red ruby slippers? How can I find a way back home if I'm lost? And
Mhm.
and and that's the other thing too. You're just making me think too that I had mentioned about support groups, that it's not easy. And I'm in a bereavement support group. Like I know I don't worry about asking for help. And in fact, when it was my dad's birthday, I actually took the day off. Like I was like, because and I said that I was like, I'm going to take the day off for my father's birthday for the first time that he's not here. So I feel that self-care and speaking up for what you need is really important.
Mhm.
And I'm not afraid to ask for help. And times have been trying, and fully admit that I need help, and I'm not afraid to get it. And I think that's a huge thing for all of us to realize, that it's okay not to be okay. And we've heard that 1,000 times. It's okay not to be okay, and it's okay to
Mhm.
cry. I After one of the shows in Sweden, and I was doing this curtain speech, and I was like, here it comes. And I was like, okay, the tsunami of tears are coming. And I was like, I said to the audience, I'm not apologizing. I said, this is where I'm at. I miss my dad, and I wish he were here, and I'm going to cry. And then I stopped crying, because I think I put it out there like, it's coming. And I did cry, but I was like, you have to be how you are in the moment. And I was like, I'm not going to deny that I need help. I need a support group. I'm having a hard time.
Mhm.
And I think that's important to recognize, and not be like, I'm fine. No, I'm not fine. I'm
Yeah.
not fine.
Yeah.
And nope. And and you had mentioned career change. Maybe you were like, nope, I need a career change. Like I need to make a change for myself.
Mhm.
And we have to recognize that about ourselves. What do we need, and what can we what can we do for ourselves, and how do we express what we need. And I
Yeah.
think cancer taught me that, right? When I just told you like that $1,700 bill earlier, I was like, no. Like I was like, I need for you not to keep sending me, my balance is $1,700. Not going to do it. And then I had two different bills in cancer treatment for almost $5,000 out of pocket. So insurance got $1 billion and I still had to pay like 5,000. And so I called the financial department at the hospital. This is my first hospital I was at. And they're like, well, we can set up a payment plan. I'm like, I don't want a payment plan. I'm like, you have gotten thousands of dollars. What is this to you? And they're like, okay, zero. Didn't pay them back. And they pardoned it. And I was like, how do you expect me to pay $10,000 of my own money when I'm in getting cancer treatment?
Yeah.
That's a little cruel.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I was like, really?
For
I'm
sure.
trying to survive, and you just slapped on a $10,000 bill between the two bills. And one of the highest forms, if not the highest form of bankruptcy, is from health, health,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
I mean, yeah, people become homeless because of health.
right, right. Yep. The medication I was on was thousands of dollars a month if I paid out of pocket, and it was $3. And the one now is $1 a month. And I don't even want to say how much it retails for. So I think that's something that's really important to recognize,
Mhm.
that to say, no, I'm like, I don't want a payment plan. I can't afford this. I'm working as much as I can through treatment, and so
Yeah.
I think that's where patient advocacy and just plain old advocacy for yourself works.
Yeah.
If you're not haven't gotten a raise in a long time, right? Let's say the scenario, and you're like, I haven't gotten a raise. I've been doing the work. Where's my raise? Like you're not going to get, a company isn't going to go, we're going to give you a raise. You have to go, I need, hello, right? And so
Yeah.
you have to do that, for
People
yourself.
have such a hard time because everyone wants to be nice, everyone wants to be liked. So that they just like let themselves get like screwed over all the time and they live their lives for other people and making other people happy.
It's so true, but you can be nice. I was very nice when I said I'm not paying
When
that
you're like,
bill.
I'm not
I
paying
was
this.
nice. Yeah, I was like, thank you. Thank you for sending this. And no, I'm not going to pay it. And I was nice as pie.
Yeah.
You can still be nice. That's the thing. I didn't have to be like, I'm not paying this bill.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So you can be nice, but, also, what's the end game from this? And
Yeah.
so, yeah, but you're
But
right. I mean, but people are afraid to stick up for themselves. They want to be liked. They don't want to seem difficult, but you can still speak your mind and not be viewed as difficult.
mhm. Yeah. Yeah, you can, I mean, and quite frankly, you being kind actually might like probably worked in your favor. Like my grandma used to always say, you get more flies with honey than you do with vinegar,
That's
you
so
know.
true. It's true. Yeah, like probably they would have hung up on me if I was like, I'm not paying it. But
Yeah.
I was like, I'm in this X, Y, and Z, and I, really, really, I have a I bill for $3. I'll pay that. I'm fine with that. I'm not going to be like, that's $3,
Yeah.
but I mean, I don't do that for every bill. I can pay a $3 bill. But if it's $3,000, if there's a few more zeros behind that,
Mhm.
yeah, not when they're getting a lot from
Yeah.
my insurance company. I
Yeah.
I shudder to think now, how many years I've racked up that, with all of this. and continue to, but that's okay. Yeah.
I mean,
The charity.
that's what they're there for,
I
right?
know, I
I
know.
mean, and
I'm not very popular with insurance companies, probably.
but they get plenty of money out of all the other people that don't ever go to the doctor. So
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And we hope no one, I hope no one uses, and I can shout it from the mountaintops. I hope you never use your insurance. I
yeah,
hope you never have to use it ever.
that's
Just
the
pay the,
ideal.
right, have the just the premium or whatever, just to cover it. But I hope you never use it.
Yeah. How did you get started in theater?
I loved performing, and it was funny, like I was like thinking of like when did I really, really start? And I always say first grade, but it was actually before first grade, like when I was probably like 5. I did chim chimmery. I can't even say it anymore. With a broom and a big thing on my head, dancing around in this class. But then I had the funniest memory about that I'd never really talked about before. But when I was a Girl Scout, you get badges. And one of the badges that I wanted to get was for music. So as a Girl Scout, I had to sing a song in front of the troop, and I picked Evergreen because I was obsessed with Barbara Streisand. But it was like not appropriate lyrics for a child. It's like, like a rose, under the April snow, I just like there was like, what is this one lyric I was looking up the other day? Like I was just thinking about how funny the lyrics were, that I was like a kid singing it. And I was like, it was like, basically kind of singing that you were sleeping with somebody, like one heart, one beat, like comes to one, like I didn't even realize what I was singing was probably like hooking up as a and I was kind of laughing. I was like, but I loved the song, and I loved ageless, ever, I'm not going to sing it now, but it was really funny. So I was like, so I remember getting my music badge, and or the first lyrics, like love, soft as an easy chair, love fresh as the morning air, one love can be shared by two, I have found with you, and I'm like, how old am I? I'm still playing with Barbie dolls.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I always had been a performer. Like I always wanted to perform, and I love improv, and I think improv was such a great door to open because it's so much fun, and you could be anybody you want. You could be a cyclops who dances with a leg, one leg and a cane, and and you're 80 years old, like like you could be anything you want to be, and create whatever you want to be. And then it's also great listening, because the key to improv is listening to your other partner, and making your scene partner look good, not you. It's about your scene partner. So I've always performed, and my mom said that, I don't remember this, but when we were living in New York, that I was yelling in front of the TV, I can't get out, help me get out, I'm stuck in the TV, yeah, I was quite the kid. But I've always, I was the class clown, I was always like joking, being a jokester. So I think it comes from being the youngest, I think, of 3, the ham of the family. I was definitely the ham, and always playing jokes, and just doing crazy things. And we would make houses out, like my sister and I can't even remember, you're making me remember this. Thank you. It's a great memory. We had double beds, or twin beds or whatever. side by side, and we would put a cloth over it and make a tent, and have like the flashlight, like all that goofy stuff. Or we take pillows and make things out of, we had a disco when we were kids, like a little disco. We put aluminum foil on the walls
Oh, cute.
and had like birthday parties, and a lot of yeah, we were very, all three of us were very creative. But just like, making something out of nothing. Our towels were, we were from Egypt, or we had long blonde hair with a towel, and you know what I'm saying? Like, you just do all these wacky things, or you'd make a toga out of the sheets, like Greek toga. You're a Greek goddess out of a, toga from the bed sheet, and doing all kinds of stuff. So yeah, it started probably when I was in my mom's stomach. I was probably like dancing in her stomach, from an early age. She
Yeah.
could hear me sing, as well as I could hear her sing.
Oh yeah, those childhood memories are so great. Like,
Aren't
yeah,
they? Do you have the same, right? The
yeah,
towel on the head and all that. Yeah, because I can see you shaking your head like, yeah, we did it. We did it, and with the brothers and sisters you have.
yeah. I have an older brother and a younger sister. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Wow.
To this day, I still remember this song that my brother made up
Oh my
about,
gosh.
about camping.
Oh my gosh. Do you remember it? Do you want to share it? Oh my.
Sure. It goes, camping in the night, you feel a great big fright when you're camping in the night. Ooh, the creatures come and get you, but
Oh,
they are good creatures. They got cool movie features.
oh my God, that's hilarious. Oh my God. You need to record it and like put it out in the world. Oh my gosh. That is awesome.
Yeah,
I
I,
love.
I the fact that I still remember that from like being 6 years old is
Isn't it amazing? Yeah, like you all of a sudden it's like, I don't remember it. Oh my God, there it is. That's really funny. So I totally get it.
yeah,
I love it. What a great memory
yeah.
of, your childhood.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
How do you define fun?
Um, Defining fun where you laugh so hard you can't breathe. That's fun. Like laughing where you're just like you can't breathe. That's fun. Like like belly laughs that
Mhm.
like that will make you double over because you're laughing so hard. That's fun.
Yeah, I love
Laughter.
that feeling.
Yeah, I do too. Laughter equals fun. Fun equals laughter. So definitely.
When's the last time you laughed that hard?
The last time, like one of the times where I actually thought I was going to die from laughing, I my best friend from high school, John Michael, we were in a production of The Wizard of Oz, and the guy scammed everybody. Like he said that we'd be on NBC and we'd have waterfalls for the Emerald City and all this stuff, and it was a total scam. And we had scaffolding and with Christmas decorations. That was Emerald City. And I had several different parts, so it was videotaped. And so John Michael and I still have the videotape, and we watched it, and we were howling because like I was the bridge turner. Like there's a scene where I had music and I would just turn. It wasn't a bridge, it was just this thing to, as Dorothy was going down, we are like, we're the bridge turners. And then I was the Oz lady, and I pulled on the beat the lion with my umbrella, and then he was the scarecrow, and then we were the Emerald City Singers, and I wore this pink taffeta dress that I had worn for my 10th grade homecoming with big puffy sleeves that was like so unfashionable. And we laughed, like we were crying, we were laughing so hard because we were just like, what in the world was this? And it was like this, like something I would never want TMZ to get a hold of, for my future, like torture me with it. But it was so like literally like, and he was like the scarecrow. And then it was just like, and then to see how we had been scammed, like we were promised all this stuff and it was like nothing, and we were just laughing, and how goofy, and I had all these little bit parts and he was the scarecrow. And I think that was that was like the one time where we actually were grabbing onto each other and we couldn't breathe. We were laughing so hard just watching this video. I still have to watch it. I have it. I still have the VCR. So I'm embarrassed to admit, but I should put it in a DVD. But even DVDs don't really exist anymore these days. So, right.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think where you're with your best friend and you hadn't seen it in years, and so you don't even remember what was on it. And then I was like, oh, that dress. And I thought it was the most beautiful dress. And then I was like, what was I thinking? That is the ugliest taffeta pink mush of a dress I could, but I loved it back then. And it was just huge sleeves. Like it was pretty funny. So that was one of the most laughed I'd ever had. And I will probably laugh that hard again if I see it again soon.
Yeah. It'll just be brought up, all brought up again.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
What is your play personality? So there's Joker, artist, explorer, collector, competitor, kinesthetic.
Right. Let's see.
I don't remember what the other ones.
Yes. There was, what was it? Say them again. It was
Joker, artist, explorer, collector, storyteller, director, kinesthetic, competitor.
I would say, let's see. I would say, well, that's a great question. I would definitely say explorer, Joker for sure, artist, definitely collector of VHS tapes. Yeah, I would say Joker, artist, explorer, collector, storyteller. Yeah, I think it would definitely be those. Yeah, it would definitely be those. Yeah.
Yeah, some of those, like, I'm like, oh, well, clearly you're a storyteller.
Yeah, I would say definitely. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Yeah. And then I thought of that crazy evergreen lyric. It's like, when I was a kid, you and I will make each night the first, every day a beginning.
Oh,
I was like, I said that when I was like 7 years old, like, you and I will make each night a first, every day a beginning. And I'm like, oh, maybe I thought it was Barbie dolls.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, when you're young, it's just like these things just go over your head.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh.
Yeah, that's so funny. Yeah, it just popped in my head. That's funny. Yeah.
What makes you feel luxurious?
A bubble bath.
Hmm.
Definitely a bubble bath. Yeah, like a or a bath that has like lavender or something. I love taking baths. I think that one of the great coping mechanisms that's helped me is meditation. And I often do a meditation while I'm taking a bubble bath because it's like really comforting and really, yeah. So I love bubble baths. And also, I think that makes me feel luxurious. Definitely. Yeah.
What would be your dream vacation?
Wow. Anywhere warm. I would definitely there are three places that I would want to go to that I've not been. Um, Costa Rica. Always wanted to go there. Always wanted to go to the Dominican Republic. I've so many Dominican Republic. I can't even talk today. Sorry. I've just lovely people that I'm very close friends with, and they always are telling me how amazing the Dominican Republic is and like how they love it. And so I'd like to go there. And I've always wanted to go to New Orleans.
Hmm.
I just, because I love jazz and I would just love going, the Cajun food and the music. Because I've been to Nashville and Memphis and love those cities. Like you just walk down the street and there's music blaring from every single venue, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And so I think that, and the other thing I've always wanted to do, which I may do a little bit next year, like I love road tripping and I would love to do cross country, but I'm taking the show Baggage from Baghdad to LA, and I might try to go in California, drive to different places and try to set up doing the show. And I would love doing that. Like I love driving, and now that we've got the GPSs, like there, it's very easy to road trip instead of getting a map and a physical map and going, where are we?
Yep.
Right, where are we going? I'm lost. So I think, yeah, I think anywhere like I loved Aruba. I wouldn't mind going there again, and just any tropical place, Fiji, anywhere. I'd love to go. But those three are my like places I'd really love to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, what would be your perfect day?
Uh, Today was a perfect day. Beautiful sun and shine and being with friends, and I was with today. Like I think what we talked about, like just building relationships, like we played this crazy dice game I've never played before, and it was so much fun. Like it was dice, like it wasn't a video game, it was dice, and we just had to roll the dice and get certain combinations. It was called um Freakle or something. I forgot even the name of it. It doesn't even matter what the name of it was. It was just so fun to be with friends. And there's one point where I was talking to another friend, and this guy goes, Valerie, are you in this game or not? Like I was like, oh my God. Like it was hilarious. I was like, sir, yes, sir. Like he was like, you got to be in it. It's quit talking, like to your friend. We're playing a game, and it was hilarious, and it was so much fun. Like it was just like it was like if we had thrown Q-tips, that was a game. Like how many Q-tips can you throw? Like, and I think that's a perfect day, is to be with family and friends, because that's really what it's all about. Are our relationships.
Yeah.
Our relationships is what really I think is a perfect day. And
Definitely.
being with your friends and family. And tomorrow, I'm seeing friends I haven't seen in since all this happened. And I'm so excited. And I'm so excited to see you. So I think relationships are a perfect day.
I
Yes.
agree. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. I'm gonna ask just one more question, just because I know we're nearing midnight, and I'm
Oh,
probably
yeah.
getting tired.
I'm turn into a pumpkin. Yes.
I don't want you to just.
No, I want to eat a pumpkin. I want pumpkin pie.
Let's see. Actually, let's do a little bit of word
Oh, I
association.
love
We'll do a
it.
few of
That's
those.
improv. That's total improv.
All right. What do you think of when you think of home?
My mother and father. Yeah.
Flower.
Rose.
Happy.
Me.
Pizza.
Not enough of it.
Oh, never.
I love pizza.
Ocean.
Virginia Beach, where I grew up.
Music.
Um, Queen. Um, uh, Freddie Mercury. Yeah.
That's good. Car.
Honda. My first car and only car.
Person only, yeah.
Yeah, 'cause I live in the city. I don't have a car anymore. Honda. Yeah.
Ice.
Cream. My favorite.
Yeah. Dog.
Duffy.
Oh.
Yeah. My Scottish Terrier dog. No longer with us. Yeah.
Computer.
Annoying.
Camera.
Photo.
Family.
Miss it.
I think
Yeah.
we'll end right there.
You. This was incredibly wonderful. I'm using wonderful again.
Okay.
I'm honored to be on this, and I can't thank you enough. And thank you for making me remember such amazing memories that I haven't remembered in so long. Like I'm even envisioning when my dad taught me how to bike, and I remember the bike and the training wheels and the horn on the bike was this huge horn. Not a bell, it was a huge horn. So I can't thank you enough for having me on here.
Oh, you're
It's
very
been so
welcome.
much fun.
It
Yeah,
was
it's been a blast.
so great to talk to you. Your story is beyond inspiring and really beautiful, and you're a gift to the world.
Oh, you're a gift. And thank you for doing this and having this amazing podcast and with the biggest, greatest theme of all, fun, fundamental, that's how we should live our life. And, when you were saying what is fun equals laughter, fun equals family, fun equals fulfillment, fun equals, enjoying life. And that's it's nothing is worth it if it's not fun. Right? I'm not having fun. How many's like, I'm at this job, I'm not having fun, or I'm in a relationship, I'm not having fun. We
Yeah.
have to turn that frown upside down.
Yeah.
And fun.
And potentially do something scary, which is like if you're not having fun, you got to do something.
Exactly. You got to shake it up. You got to. And I think that's the hardest part is getting out of your comfort zone. And I fall in that. And I struggle constantly going, okay, get the safety net off.
Yeah, me too.
Jump and don't worry that you're going to fall. It's okay. And it's also okay to fall. And, because it's not, how many times you fall, it's how many times you get up. And I really do believe that. I really do believe that. I think it's very true. Yeah. But I can't thank you enough. This was so great. I so appreciate it. And I hope we'll get to meet in person when I'm out. And so, yes. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And thank you.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, we'll talk soon and hopefully see each other soon too. Thanks
Definitely.
again.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're welcome. Have a good night.
You too. Okay. Bye.
Bye. I just want to thank Valerie again for being on. It was so great to talk to you. And yeah, thank you for being on my little podcast. So I'm going to keep this outro short because it's a very long episode, but totally worth it. I did not edit like anything because every word was awesome and necessary and just She's just amazing. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed being a part of it. I enjoyed hearing her. And, if you ever have a chance to check out one of her shows, I can't wait to check out one of her shows. So I hope that you do too. And I will be back with a new episode next week. I love you. Have some fun. And I'll see you.